Hi there, I am Knitter CNY, otherwise known as Mindy. You have found CNY Woman Knits and Crochets. I am Knitter CNY on Ravelry and Instagram. I'm going to crochet with you for a little while, so sit back, grab something to drink, grab something to eat, grab your work in progress, or start a new project, and we're going to crochet for a while, and I'm going to talk. And I hope you like it. I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about today, but we'll see. Today I am working on a blanket with Bernat Baby Blanket in the color Raspberry Kisses. Kind of looks peachy under this light. I apologize, I have one overhead light on that has 2 whole light bulbs in it. So you may get a little shadowy, which is fine because a lot of these videos are just so you have somebody to crochet with. So just imagine you're in my house and you're on the other side of the camera and we're having a chit chat and we're crocheting or we're knitting together, and that's good. So what I'm working on is this blanket. It is, and you can pardon the ends there, I started a new ball of yarn tonight because the blanket was getting too short, was going to come up short. So I ordered one more skein from Amazon because it was on sale for $6.97, which was a pretty good price for it. And I'm doing griddle stitch, like, like pancakes on a griddle, or it is known as the lemon peel stitch, I've been told. And what it is a single crochet in one stitch and then a double crochet in the next stitch, and on the next row you do a double crochet stitch into the single crochet stitch, and you do a single crochet stitch into the double crochet stitch. So it gives you a little bit of texture. I'll put that up close so you can kind of see there's a little bit of texture there. I'm using a Prim ergonomic hook. It's a 10 millimeter, and they call it an N. Sometimes people call it a P. I call it an N because that's what it says on it. So I'm going to work on this a while. Also going to move this bag of yarn because it was crinkling. So I don't want that to crinkle. And I'm just going to work on my stuff. If I look away from the camera, it's because I have to look down to see my stitches. So I'm just going to talk with you and see what's going on. Last Friday, when I had to stay home from work because of the snow, if you haven't seen my last video, go back to last Friday's video and watch that video. It's very good. It's very short. It was just a regular podcast video. But I had to stay home from work last Friday because we were getting snow. Now, in that video, I said the snow was over my knees in the driveway. I'm 5'6". The snow that we got that day was 30 to 32 inches of snow in less than a 24-hour period. So that was not fun. And then we got more snow on top of it. It has snowed and snowed and snowed some more. And usually that lake effect snow comes to the county that's just north of me, and the county just north of them, and the county just east of the county that's north of me. And I usually don't get a lot of lake effect snow. We haven't gotten snowstorms like this in about 10 years. So it was very interesting. My plow guy came, unstuck the car, and plowed out the driveway, not once, but twice on Friday. It was not safe to drive at all for me. When he came and got me unstuck, and plowed the driveway. He said they were having trouble negotiating the main corner in town to get on to the road that leads to Route 81, which is the interstate highway, which is a couple miles from my house. And the traffic was backed up for a good half a mile to a mile on the state route that parallels Route 81. So I was not going to try and travel in that. And I had already emailed work and let them know I wasn't coming in. I called work. My supervisor said, take the day off. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So I did. And then I was at work bright and early Monday morning. But we've gotten snow. We're probably only going to get a couple inches per day for the rest of the week. But the snowbank is higher than my mailbox is. So think about how tall your mailbox is. And then think about the snowbank being taller than your mailbox. They had to physically cut the back of the snowbanks so we can see around the snowbanks to actually drive. I have to pull out into the street kind of to see around the snowbank. So that's always fun. I am not roof raking my house because if I did, I would block the vent to my furnace because all of that snow would come down and block the vent. So I'm just going to deal. So far, there hasn't been any creaking. There's icicles hanging off of the house, but I can live with that. There hasn't been super warm days either. So I think it's just gonna melt. You know, it's not going to all melt at once and then be a huge deal and back up and all of that stuff. So I'm not worried about trying to get the snow off of my house. I've done roof raking in the past, and it was many years ago, and my dad was still living in the house at the time. Before he went into the nursing home, and I roof raked the whole house, and it's a 3-bedroom ranch, so it's not very big. It's 1,000 square feet. And that was taxing on me, and I was in better shape than I am now. I was about the same weight wise, but I was wearing rain gear because I didn't have snow pants. So I wore rain gear over my winter jacket. And I remember coming back in and being so, because you have to work the roof rake and you work with your hands up in the air. So you're constantly moving. And then you're up to your waist in snow. So that's a lot. I physically can't do that anymore. I just can't. And I remember coming in and at one point just sitting in a chair and almost blacking out because I had exerted myself so much. And I just remember everything sort of going black. And I didn't pass out or anything, but it took about 10 minutes. My dad was talking to me or something and trying to say something to me. And I just looked at him and was like, just shaking my head back and forth because I couldn't understand what he was saying. All I could see was his mouth moving and I couldn't understand what he was saying. And I was on the verge of fainting or going unconscious and just kept hearing my heart thudding in my ears for about 10 or 15 minutes before that went away. And then I was like, okay, I almost passed out. We're not doing that again. So that is kind of the way it goes. So work is going well. I am learning lots of new things. Again, I won't talk about work here because I have a sense of privacy about those things. You don't need to know about the day job, just know I have a day job now. I was unemployed for a number of months after my bariatric surgery. The lab is in the process of going out of business. They haven't run lab tests. They're in the midst of selling off stuff. Yada yada. It was a great job while it lasted. So I work the day job. I get off at 4. I come home by 4:30, and then I start crocheting. I am crocheting blankets for Project Linus. The coordinator sent out an email the other day saying she's still recovering from her surgery. She's planning on collecting blankets sometime in March. And my Joann's in Clay, New York, which is 10 or 15 minutes away from me, is going to remain open for the time being. So she's still considering picking up there unless something else changes. And if something else changes, I think there's a pickup point at the Baldwinsville Library, which is another 10 minutes beyond Joann's, another 10-15 minutes. Let's see. I'm not going to talk about politics because that's a divisive subject. Let's see. My friend was really nice to me. I have friends that live on the other side of town from me, and I had said, hey, I'm stuck in the house Friday, can't go out, blah, blah, blah. If you guys go out for groceries with your Jeep, can you pick me up some stuff and then I can pay you? And she was like, sure. She went out in her Subaru. Now I have a Subaru too, but I did not want to go out on Saturday even because I knew everybody and their brother would be out because of the storm getting over. And we had another round of lake effect that was coming Saturday as well. So she went out super early. She came, she delivered the groceries to my house. I'm paying her. I had to transfer some money into my Cash App to pay her. I won't say which Cash App I use because it's none of your business. But anyways, so I'm going to pay her with the Cash App, and she'll get that once the money transfers in there from the bank account. I'll probably go grocery shopping this weekend again, because like I said, we're only supposed to get inches of snow, not feet of snow. I know people north of me in the next county have had it a lot worse than me. They have actually had one of the Walmarts that's in the town north of me, a Walmart that is in the next county has been closed for the last 3 days because they have so much snow on their roof that they need to shovel that off. And I don't know who's shoveling it off or what's going on. We also had north of that by a half an hour or so, but also in the same county, I believe. Might be a different county. They had a factory that the people reported for work, and the building started creaking, and they evacuated the building immediately. Thank God they did, because the building roof collapsed. And we're talking a factory. So they have other factories in the area, so they've redistributed the workers, but the building is a total loss, they believe, because the roof caved in. It's, they're getting that much snow. There was one town in the next county that got 104 inches of snow in 4 days. So I can complain about 30 inches of snow in 1 day, but I can't say that I got 104 inches of snow in 4 days, So I probably didn't say that right. I can't complain about getting 30 inches of snow in 1 day compared with getting 104 inches of snow in 4 days. That's what I meant to say. And I might have said it twice. I don't know. But that's crazy. This blanket is going well. It's nice to have a warm blanket. It's just a pain in the neck to have to switch it around every row. But this pattern is super easy to do. Like I said, it's either called griddle stitch or lemon peel stitch. And there may be other names for it as well. I watched a video and somebody was like, this is how many you chain, and then you start working on the blanket, and it only takes 4 skeins. Well, for me, it's taking 5 because I didn't want a super short blanket. My crochet stitches tend to come up short a little bit. I know that on the baby blanket that Bernat put out, which is another project that I'm working on that I'll show you probably Sunday when I record for the regular podcast. I'm doing another ripple blanket that's single crochet in the back loop, and this pattern from Bernat is supposed to come out 36 by 42. Mine comes out 36 by 36. So I'm a good 6 inches short, because my stitches are different than the gauge. I just go with that because it's fine to have a 36 by 36 blanket, because that's what my local Project Linus chapter wants for baby blankets anyways, so it works out just fine. And I know I can do that pattern and get that size blanket, so that's kind of a pattern I rely on. It's like with these blankets, the larger size blankets, I can use Suzette stitch. Suzette stitch is, you have a multiple of 2. You do a single crochet and then a double crochet in the same stitch. You skip 1 and then you repeat. So it's pretty easy. And it's funny because it's the same number of stitches for griddle stitch and for Suzette stitch. Like, you're still doing a single crochet and a double crochet, and you're still doing it kind of over 2 stitches, but the griddle stitch just comes out shorter for me than the Suzette stitch does, and I don't know why. Somebody can probably explain it to me, but my blanket with the Suzette stitch comes out longer. And then I said Suzette stitch and started making her Suzette stitch, which is not what I really want to do because I'm not on that project. I finished one blanket that I will show you Sunday that is Suzette stitch. It's the one with the neon yarn. This blanket I hadn't even started on Sunday. This blanket I started, maybe I started it Sunday. Yeah, I must have started it Saturday or Sunday. Oh, because I recorded Friday, that's why. I was like, why wouldn't it have been in the podcast? And then it occurred to me, I recorded the podcast Friday. So I must have started this blanket Saturday or Sunday I started it. And today is Wednesday night. So you do the math. I've gotten through 4 skeins and I'm starting a 5th. So it goes relatively fast. And I've got this much done on the baby blanket too, and I only started that last night. So crocheting with blanket yarn makes projects go faster. Also, very good for YouTube content because it looks like I've done a whole lot of work. And I have. I've crocheted a whole bunch, but a super bulky yarn, a 6, gives you a faster project. So that's kind of the secret to how I crocheted over 50 blankets last year. I think I did 51 or 52 last year. I haven't counted all the blankets I've done this year so far, but 1, 2, 3. I see 3. I know 3 are in a tub. That's 6. And there's got to be 5 that are sitting there. So I've done maybe 11 blankets so far, 10 or 11 blankets. And then I'm starting on a 12th and a 13th. I'll give you a count for sure on Sunday. Don't worry about it. I may even take out my blankets and review them so you can see them all again and say these are the blankets I got done. Now, 2 of those I started in late December and I didn't finish until January. But I like blanket yarn. I have a lot of blanket yarn. I bought more blanket yarn. Hirschner's had a sale. It's over now, so don't get excited. Hirschner's had a sale where they had 14% off and 14% shipping for Valentine's Day. And I bought yarn. They advertised it on the 13th, so that would have been a week ago Thursday. So I ordered it in the morning of the 13th. I got a notification the 14th that it was shipping, and I received it on Saturday the 15th. Even with all our crazy weather, I still got it delivered. FedEx delivered it, I believe. And it was kind of nice because I was like, oh, okay. And my friend that brought me the groceries is a teacher, and she's making some blankets for coworkers who are pregnant, and she needed some yarn. So I was like, here, what color do you want? You know, she wanted to make it out of blanket yarn, one of them out of blanket yarn. She's using some yarn from her stash too to make the other blanket. But I was like, I've got like four skeins of blanket yarn in various colors. I'll have them in the totes by the door when you come. So she didn't even have to get off the welcome mat that's inside. I would tip the tote up and be like, you want this one? Or do you want this one? Or do you want this one? And she picked tie-dye-ish yarn that is Bernat blanket in kind of an orangey color. And it was kind of funny because I had forgotten I even had it, first of all. And then I went to what I had ordered from Hirschner's was tie-dye-ish yarn. And I got yellow, kind of a yellow color, and then a color called Himalayan Salt, which is kind of a pinkish color. So I got 4 skeins of each of those. They had the 4 packs for, sorry, they had 2 packs for $10.98, so for $11. Then you got the 14% off. So by the time I got done with the 14-cent shipping and the 14% off, I got 8 skeins of yarn for a little over $40. So I got them for $5 a skein, which is really good price for blanket yarn. Now I could have bought more, but I didn't, because I have a lot of blanket yarn. I've rearranged stuff a little bit so that the blanket yarn is kind of all out in the living, or not in the living room, in the dining room now, behind the camera here. I have another bookshelf, and then there's totes that are in front of that, and the totes. And I don't have 11 totes of yarn. I actually only had 10 totes of yarn, because one of the totes that I opened up is actually finished projects. I had made shawls. I don't know why I made shawls, because nobody uses them, you know. Like, I had given everybody shawls for Christmas. I made 3 shawls out of homespun for Christmas, but these are shawls that are like granny shawls, out of granny cluster shawls out of Red Heart Unforgettable. And then I think there's one triangular shawl that's out of homespun. Just weird. I had hats in there, but those went to Project Linus too, because she was also, the coordinator was also collecting for the Syracuse City School District for hats for the kids. So I took all the hats that I had and submitted those, I think back in October or November. So I'm trying to use up the blanket yarn. Because it takes up a lot of space, because the skeins are big. They're 10.5 ounces, 300 grams for everybody else in the world who uses metric. And they're fluffy, you know. They're not like a flat yarn or anything like that. They're fluffy. And I can get about 3 or 4 blankets worth into a tote. So I'm doing that. The baby blanket that I started is also out of tie-dye-ish Bernat blanket yarn. It's in a blue-green colorway. I don't know what the colorway is called, because it's in the living room right now. But I am started on that. That came from Joanne's in Vestal. Over, it was either in the spring or the summer I went there, and they had yarn on clearance. And I think it was on clearance for like $6.97 or something like that, which is an okay price. It's not a bargain basement price of $5. But it's an okay price. It's less than $8.99, which is what the sale price currently is at Joann's for Bernat blanket. And I'm not paying $8.99 for Bernat blanket. I can't do it. Although in the future I may end up having to pay that price. I'll be limited in colors if I only buy off of Amazon and Walmart. Although Walmart, if you like Bernat blanket yarn. Check out Walmart's Cozy Chenille yarn. You're looking for the ones that say 220 yards per skein, just like Bernat blanket. And you're looking for the 4-pack. Now they sell the Cozy Chenille in a couple colors in the store for $7.44 a piece. The 4-pack is $21.97 for 4. So that's like about $5.25 or so for the skein. And you can only get the 4-pack shipped to you. Your order at Walmart to avoid shipping has to be over $35. So if you bought 8 skeins of that at $21.97 for 4 skeins, so you spent $44 plus tax, you could get 8 skeins for $44 plus tax. I have some of their yarn to try. I have not used it yet. If you have used Walmart's Cozy Chenille yarn, the 220 ones, please comment below this video. Let me know what you think, because that may be the way I go if I buy more blanket yarn, because that's a good price. I can get it shipped right to the house, so I don't have to go out and, try and get the yarn section going. And they had it in, for a long time, they had it in very limited colors, but now they've got it in all different kind of colors, a lot of solid colors, and they have it also in about 3 or 4 different variegated colors. So, like I said, please comment below. Let me know if you use the Cozy Chenille yarn from Walmart and what you think about it. I think when I get to the end of this row, I'm going to stop the video because I've been talking nonstop. I'm getting a little hoarse, and the blanket is heavy. And I want to go sit with my feet up in the recliner or the reclining couch. I watched a lot of YouTube. So just avoiding the politics, avoiding the war stories between the Gaza-Israeli war and the Ukrainian-Russian war. I feel for those people. I feel for anybody who's in a war zone. But I can't watch it day after day after day. It just upsets me too much. So I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of old Doctor Who on either the Roku channel or Amazon Prime carries it, or Pluto carries it. Pluto TV is free. If you've never watched Pluto TV, it's CBS's free streaming service. You can download the app. It has all kinds of shows on it. And one of them is a Star Trek channel. There's a couple Star Trek channels. There's a Stargate channel. And there is a Doctor Who channel for classic Doctor Who. We're talking 1989 and before. Also, a great place to see old classic Doctor Who episodes is an app called Tubi, Tubi. They have them so that you can pick like the first Doctor, William Hartnell. You can pick the fourth Doctor, Tom Baker. and you can watch all of the shows. And I did that, but I always I kind of have it on as background noise because my mom did that when I was a kid. She would read romance novels and have the TV on as background noise. You know, whatever I was watching, you know, whether it was cartoons in the afternoon or some children's program that when local channels used to do children's programming when you got home from school. I know, it's weird. If you're a child of the 70s and the 80s, you might remember that. Our local TV stations used to do children's programming in the afternoons. That was when they still had a family hour at between 8 and 9 o'clock for shows on the networks. And they had a lot of situation comedies. Things are not like that today. You gotta be careful what you let the kids watch. Or what you watch in front of the kids, I should say. You know. But I'm not a parent, so, you know. I'm a godmother, but I'm not a parent. And of course, I flipped this around and started on another row. And I said I was going to stop when I got to the end of the row, didn't I? So I'm going to stop now because it's been about 38 minutes or so. So I hope you enjoyed this whip session that's work in progress. And again, it's a griddle stitch blanket. Looks like this, using a size N hook. And I hope you guys have a great week. I'll see you back here on Sunday. I'll try and upload a short episode of what I'm working on. Take it easy. Bye-bye.